I'm Erica Lynn, and we all know the ocean is the most demanding environment on Earth, consistently testing the reliability and durability of our equipment. When you spend as much time fishing as I do, you know that reliable gear is essential for staying on the water. This is why I went with the Abyss battery to power my trolling motor, electronics, and outboard. The guys at Abyss Battery are rattling the saltwater industry by manufacturing performance marine batteries specifically designed for sonar, outboards, trolling motors, and electronic fishing reels. They're also Bluetooth compatible, so I found checking battery statuses right on your phone while you're out on the water is a huge game changer. To learn more about why Abyss batteries are used by the pros and factory installed by premier boat builders, visit abyssbattery.com.
Hello and welcome to the Publicly Challenged Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Oswald, and I hope you join me on my quest for knowledge to become a better public land hunter, angler, and forager. Stick with this and who knows, maybe we will learn something together. All right, real quick before we get started on the show, I'm just going to talk about Treeline Academy. You've heard me say it. I can't even tell you how many times. Mark Livesay is treelineacademy.net. That's treelineacademy.net. Sign up. Use the promo code PC2020. Save yourself $20. Can't say it enough. It's awesome. Amazing. Most comprehensive e-scouting course out there. Check it out for yourself. Sign up. Use promo code PC2020. And now let's get to the show. On this episode, we talked to a guy named Arlando Chiles. Arlando is a guy that recently came to hunting in a very unique way, and it's pretty interesting to hear it. He's got a lot of the same role models that I have in the hunting industry, and it's pretty cool to just kind of hear the whole thing, how it all came about, and how passionate and actively involved he is in trying to get other people to hunt. But with that being said, I do have to say there is explicit content within this episode. So if you have small children, easily get offended by swear words, something like that, just turn it off, please. Otherwise, enjoy the show, listen, and maybe laugh a little bit. All right, so I'm sitting here, and I've got Arlando Chiles on. That's your name, right?
That's my name.
All right, I said it right this time, so we're good. Or also known as Buck the Black Hunter. But
That's correct.
So you want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, man?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Buck the Black Hunter, also known as Arlando Chiles. I am from Campfire Evolution. You can find me at camp_fire_evolution on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I'm not on Facebook so much, but yes. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to bring some more knowledge about the outdoors to our communities. I live in the city, and I can see how the outdoors can really help with a lot of. I'll tell you what, if I had the outdoors when I was some of these kids' age who aren't doing anything, luckily I had football, but a lot of these kids don't have anything to do after school. If I had archery at that time, I believe that if I was out there, had nothing to do, I would be in a way different place. And what I mean by that is I feel like some of these kids are going home and focusing on these video games, or they're focusing on, whatever clothes they got to get, or whatever they have to look, or whatever. Like they're spending their money in places that is not going to actually make them a better person. So I want to just enlighten them on the beautiful healing powers and growing powers of hunting and anything in the outdoors. It doesn't have to be hunting. It can be foraging for if you're a vegan, you can start foraging for morels. You can have your season for that. If you're whatever you do, I want to bring that knowledge to you and let you know that, you don't have to try to fit in with the crowd. You can go grab a bow and fit in with yourself and find you.
Yeah.
Trying to take them on my journey. Essentially, my journey was found with hunting. It helped me break myself, and you can even be fine. I mean, for me, I was totally fine up until I hit a rock bottom, and coming out of that rock bottom, hunting helped me come out of that rock bottom. So it's I want to be able to supply this tool for people to help them come out of whatever hole they may feel that they're in. And that's what I'm doing.
Nature therapy, man.
Trying.
Yeah.
Nature therapy, exactly. Outdoor
Yep.
therapy.
Yep. So let's get into that then. Now that you mentioned it, let's talk about where you were at, what you were doing, and then how you came about to want to
Oh
hunt.
yeah. So it it all started with a lot of failures. So I was acting at the time. I had a pretty what I thought was getting to be a pretty big role, and that ended abruptly. And when that happened, it was heartbreaking. Then I started drinking, heavily drinking, and I ended up getting a DUI. And honestly, it wasn't so much that I was like an alcoholic. It was just I just make was making dumb choices, not thinking straight, not really committed to anything. I had nothing to really commit to. It was just kind of like I was free floating. Um, then got DUI, so I'm at home. I got kicked out of my place. I'm still drinking at this time. I'm even more in a depression, so I'm drinking even more. I'm double fisting beers, double fisting blunts and burritos, and I'm moving out. Yeah, I'm moving out of my house because I can't afford to pay. I can't afford to pay the rent. I have 3 dogs at this time that I was at the time I was trying to start a breeding program with these dogs, and I wanted to start breeding their tricolor pit bulls. And a buddy of mine, I was going to be working with him breeding these dogs, helping them get wonderful families, taking pictures of them online, making them like internet famous, and then selling them. Um, that didn't work out. I had to then just say, "Hey, buddy, I need to give these dogs to you. Can you take care of them?" Luckily, he has a big kennel where he was just like, you know what, I can do it. We can take care of them, and they're still doing fine. I check up on them all the time. They're on my Facebook, and I look at them and I'm like, oh my god, you're getting so big. Look at you, proud parent. But I had to give that up. I had to move out. I lost all of my clients. I was a personal trainer at the time. I lost all of my clients. I was in a depression. I was super depressed, and I had nothing to do. I had nowhere to go. Well, I had my parents' house to go, but I had no direction is what I meant. I have nowhere to like focus my time and my power and my drive. I'm a guy who needs to be active. If I'm not active, I'm getting into trouble. So not having an outlet really put me in a precarious place. I might even said that right, but in an ugly place to where I was looking for therapy in dangerous ways by going to pool halls and drinking. Like that's stupid. Drinking and driving is stupid. Period. No matter if you had no matter if I only had 2 beers, and that's honestly all I really had. I had 2 beers. I played 2 rounds. It was a day before my birthday, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go play some pool and like go have some beers, and that's what I did, and I got a DUI for it, and then that sent me into this whole just depression. I'm sitting at home, packing my bags. I'm listening to rap music on YouTube, playing throughout the house, getting ready to go. Then randomly, I hear some random music. Randy Newberg
Hey,
comes on.
folks.
Hey, folks, Randy Newberg here, and I'm here in Southeast Alaska with my buddy Bart May, and we're chasing black bears. And that big old smile on his face, man. And yeah, I literally remember probably walking into because I had a kitchen, walking to the living room where it was playing. I sat down. I'm like, what the fuck? How did this come on? And like he's talking about shooting black bears, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay, let me just check this guy out. Let me see what he's about. This looks pretty cool. He's not, he's not like any other hunting show I've ever seen. So I'll give him a shot. He looks pretty cool. Seen him, watched the video. I couldn't stop watching his videos. I sat there and watched all of season 2. I think it was season 2 that was on. I watched all of it and was just like, oh yeah, this is something that I got to do. So I went the next day, got a bow from Bass Pro Shop, and I've been shooting ever since. And it's been my focus, my outlet, kind of ever since. I've been driven. At first, I had no clue where to even start. No clue how to even get into hunting. I tried to talk to folks, but when you're talking to people face to face, this was before I discovered groups on the internet for hunting. When you start talking to people face to face, there's not they don't want to, they're not gonna give you their spot. If I see a guy at a gas station with the buck in his back in his trunk, hey bud, where'd you get that deer? Oh, up there in the mountains there,
Yep.
it's you got to find them, you got to hunt them, and it's kind of like, all right, and it's a little discouraging when you don't have someone teaching you like what to do. You don't have someone telling you how to do this, and it's discouraging. So what I did, I just started diving into Randy a little bit more and just focusing on what he did and just really breaking down his episodes. And he always talked about the wind. He always talked about e-scouting. He always talked about being prepared. He always talked about being physically fit. He always talked about like just being patient. And he admitted his mistakes. And through time, it built enough confidence for me to actually go on a hunt. And my first hunt is probably what everybody's first hunt should be. It was a private property hunt where you just kind of get your rocks off, and you kind of just you get to kind of hunt. It wasn't my style of hunting. It wasn't the thrill that I was seeking, but I would highly suggest that style of hunting for any like questionable first time hunter, because you can get a doe tag. They're really cheap, $35. You can possibly get about 70 pounds of meat, and all you got to really do is knock on doors. I mean, it's simple. It's not my preferred way to hunt, but that's what I ended up doing my first time going hunting. I actually Wyoming is such a nice place, and I don't want to. I'm sorry, Sheridan. I'm probably going to be sending a lot of people to Sheridan, and they're going to flood you, knock on your doors. My apologies, but it's a beautiful place. They're so nice in Sheridan. We were driving back from an unsuccessful hunt because we had no clue what we were doing. We were not playing the wind. We were not prepared. We were wearing cowboy boots. I wasn't. A buddy of mine was wearing cowboy boots and jeans, and he thought, hey, I wear these all the time. They'll be fine in the mountains, and they were not. We had no clue what we were doing. Unsuccessful hunt. We're driving back to our hotel rooms, and I see this guy with 2 monster mule deer hanging out of the back of his truck. So I say, hey, pull over right here. I want to talk to this guy. I pulled over. I talked to him. He was like, hey, bud, what zone do you have a tag for? And I showed him. He was like, hey, actually, I have a lease of property in that zone. Come on over. I'll get you your first muley. And I was like, oh, sweet. And then I came over, shot a muley. He's like, hey, I'll get you your first antelope too. Got my first antelope doe. Perfect. I still had 2 more tags left. We ended up knocking on doors. That was sort of the only way that we knew. We are seeing them on everyone's property as we're driving to the BLM. But when we got to BLM, we had no clue where to find them. So I was like, you know what? Let's just knock on some doors, man, and let's get your tags filled. So we started knocking on doors. This guy's taking care of his lawn, and he's like, oh, you want to shoot those goats? You eat goat? They're
Yes.
nasty field rats. We don't like those goats. You can go ahead and shoot those goats all you want. And they were more than happy to go shoot some of those field goats off of his property. And they filled the rest of their tags. I ended up not being satisfied. I ended up going back. And actually, as soon as I got back, I said, hey, babe, I want to go back. I have 2 more tags. I want to go fill them, but I want to hunt. I ended up going back to some BLM in the same area, and I hunted my little butt off, and I came back with a mule deer doe. And I shot her right at sundown. It was getting ready to be sundown. She was just coming up off a private, and I was like, perfect. This is it. Everything aligned. The sun was getting ready to go down. She was just peeking herself. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Took the shot. She was down. Came home with some more meat, and yeah, ever since then I've been addicted to the stress of the hunt and the preparation of the hunt, and just so focused on my next hunt that it could be an obsession, but I'm so focused on my next hunt. I'm doing so many things to just be ready to go hunting. I'm like my work schedule. I'm working like crazy because I need extra money to not only pay for bills, to not only pay for make my wife happy, to not only pay for my savings for my baby, to not only pay for like the car that I'm building, to not only pay for just like vacation time, but to also go hunting. And I'm working my ass off. We were putting in, when I was working for ECI, Environmental Consultants Inc., we were putting in 105-hour weeks. 80-hour weeks, 90-hour weeks on a regular basis. So we were grinding hard. We were doing, so what ECI did was we did a lot of um, wood management deep in the mountains. So we couldn't be near home. So we would have to either camp or get hotels. I would normally camp and we would have an office at our hotel. We'd be in that office all night doing shit. But anyway, I'm digressing. So I was working my ass off to be able to do this. Especially this year is a really big year for me because I saved up so much money for this and it's happening. I had to work a little bit more doing some DoorDash and doing some little side jobs here and there to make the gas happen. But I I find that if I didn't have hunting, I don't know where I would be dedicating this extra time to. I'd probably just be drinking my ass off, hanging out with people that I shouldn't be hanging out with, not being helpful, not being thoughtful. Yeah, I'm having a beer right now, but this is kind of like, me and my old lady's kind of day off. She decided to take a day off and we're just hanging out and decided to, have some beers and
Yeah.
hang out with babe.
No,
But for
it's
the
a
most
healthy
part,
addiction, you know?
it's it's a healthy addiction. You're right. Big time.
If the way I look at it is most of the time you focus all this energy, all this different time, you even sacrifice time with your family, but at the end of it, it's therapy for you, so you can dedicate the rest of your time to focus on being a better husband, a better father while you are there, because you want to make things right, so you can run off and go do those things at the same time. That's
Right.
definitely important. So
There's
let's kind of talk.
definitely a compromise with the lady when it comes to, because of this hunting thing. I'm definitely compromising a whole lot more.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it happens. It's worth it though, man.
it's worth it. It is. It is.
So let's talk a little bit about, so that was your first hunt ever? You went out to Wyoming and just did all that?
No, my first hunt ever was a turkey. I shot a turkey with my bow. It was random. It wasn't really a hunt. That's what I mean. It wasn't really a hunt. I had my bow. I was doing some work in the mountains. I had my bow with me. I had a turkey tag. You just gotta get an upland game bird tag in California. And I'm driving and I seen a turkey cross the street and I'm like, oh, there's a turkey. Oh shit, I got my bow. Oh, I got broadheads. Oh shit, let me go see if I can go shoot this bird. So it was so trippy because the bird didn't care that I was there. I spotted and stalked the turkey. That's how I got my first turkey. I walked up on it. It went behind a tree. I bounced from tree to tree. And then by the time it saw me, it was too close and I was at full draw and I just stuck it. And that was like my first hunt, but it wasn't really a hunt because I was wearing jeans and a polo.
Yeah.
So I didn't really, it's just like I just shot a bird kind of thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, I guess I hunted a little bit, but the bird must have just been like, didn't give a fuck of that I was there. Just like he must have saw that I wasn't wearing any camo and was just like, who's this loser coming down here like checking me out? Like, what is this tourist doing getting out of his car looking at me? That's kind of what I look like. I look like a freaking, oh my God, a turkey. Let me go look at him, take pictures with my phone, bro. And nah, I had a pointy stick and I put it in him. And yeah, I cooked him slow and had him with tacos.
Nice. So after that, I mean, your next hunt was the Wyoming one, or did you do
Next
some?
one was Wyoming hunt. Yeah.
So how'd
The
you
next one
talk?
was the
You
Wyoming.
just straight up talked to your buddies and hey man, let's go, and then you did a little bit of
They
research or
invited
what?
me, actually. They invited
Okay.
me. I had no clue where they were going or what. I was just invited. So I didn't have an option on where to. I didn't know about do any e-scouting or any planning or anything like that. I thought they did all of that. They did not do any of that. They did not do anything except expect to just go there and shoot something.
That's
Yeah.
that's kind of
So
how my first hunt was. I mean, we did a little bit of e-scouting. We talked to some people that my cousin knew that lived in the area, whole type of thing like that, and we looked at our go hunt, but at the time they didn't have those really cool 3-day maps that they got now that they just got out. So everything
yeah.
we looked at, we're like, oh yeah, it looks like a good hunt area. What are the all that kind of stuff. But we did not do research. We did not e-scout. We did not really even know our species. I mean, we're like, yeah, an elk. Okay. It's kind of like a deer, except it grazes. We didn't know, and it was it was bad, man. It was discouraging. I've learned a lot since then. No joke. I've interviewed some awesome people on this podcast, talked to them, learned so much from them. Started taking a few, like the Tree Line Academy course, and that's amazing. Totally blew my mind with the e-scouting. And so
what does that do? Does that teach you like tree species and how to?
No, so Mark Livesey has a Tree Line Academy, he calls it, and it's Tree Line Pursuits is his other company. He's got the llamas, he rents them out and stuff, and takes them hunting with him. But basically, it goes over every aspect of e-scouting over pretty much every platform that's available out there. Gaia, it goes over Onyx. It talks about all of them, all the things, and then how to use Google Earth, and then terrain features, how to identify them, pick them out, plan your hunt to where, dude, I wouldn't have been lost. You guys wouldn't have been lost if you would have had a hunt plan, had a backup for that hunt plan, had 5 locations within your hunt area that you could hunt all from your base camp. It's just so many things that like you don't think about, you don't know. And you hear Randy, and Randy talks, and he does like his module because, like you were talking about Randy Newberg and how he influenced you so much. And that's what inspired me to go, man. I started watching one of my buddies, the same thing. It's like Randy Newberg is the relatable uncle.
Yeah.
Everybody's got an uncle or just like somebody in the family or something that he seems like he could just fit into your family and be that uncle.
Right.
He's just got that like easygoing, outgoing personality, and just, oh, well, that's all right. Well, I'll get gosh darn it. I'm going to notch my tag anyway, and
yeah, man.
It's so
I tell everyone, I'm like, you haven't seen Randy Newberg? He's kind of like the Mr. Rogers of hunting.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people, man, is he's like, everyone likes him. I've never played Randy Newberg for somebody and then be like, this is stupid. I want to turn this off. Like each time I've turned on Randy Newberg, everyone's intrigued. Everyone's just sitting down like, oh shit, it's about to kill that elk, dude. Oh fuck, what's about to happen, bro? Like chilling on the couch, like, oh shit, dude. Oh, that's fucking crazy, bro. This man just almost killed an elk. And I'm talking about hanging out with my boys that don't hunt. They don't do anything outdoor related really. And I played it one day and they were just like, fuck, bro, that's crazy. Oh fuck, what's he about to do? Oh fuck, bro. Oh shit, bro. Oh fuck. Oh shit. He got it. Oh, he got it. It's dead. Like all these emotions came out, and they were just like it's just so cute to like watch him and be like, what's he about to do with that? How's he gonna cut that up, bro? Like, what's he about to, like, what is he gonna do? Does he eat this shit? Like, just talking to, and that's every city person's. Not every city person's, but most people that I bump into, that I talk to, they don't actually think that I'm eating the meat. That's one of the questions is, what is he going to do with all that? Like, is he going to eat that? Is he going to like give it away? Like, what do you do with that? And I've had the pleasure of actually giving them some of my antelope meat and making them some tacos with some of my antelope meat, and they loved it. So that was fun. But yeah, I definitely, another thing I want to do with Campfire, man, is I want to change the way that California looks at hunters. I don't know if I want to go political, but I do want to change, do want to like make an influence, if you will, and like change the perspective of what a California, what California sees as a hunter. I feel like a lot of the stuff the negative stuff that I get is from people who are disconnected with nature and the way food is processed.
But that's like 97% of Americans these days. I mean, it truly is. And that's, I mean, just like the foraging thing.
It's like you can normalize fake boobs, or you can normalize twerking, or you can normalize shooting guns in a video game. If you normalize it, it becomes normal. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to normalize it so that people don't give me a second look like when I'm walking around in my camo and my Badlands outfit and I'm walking around with my bow. Like, you should, where's your bow? That's what you should be asking yourself. Oh shit, why aren't I shooting? That's what I want to change California. I want California to be a hunt state. There's a lot of opportunity out here, not just for big game. You got plenty of ducks. I was just talking shit about shooting ducks. There's plenty of waterfowl out here. There's plenty of upland game, plenty of birds, plenty of stuff for you to do to get outdoors. And the fact that more people aren't doing it is kind of like, why? Why aren't you? Um, and you know what? I might have answered my question earlier. It's a little bit hard to get started. There's nowhere to start, but that's what I want to do. I want to be able to. I want to be that person that somebody can watch and see my struggles, see my ups, my downs. I want to be like the Black Randy Newberg, basically. I want to, and I'm working on it. I got the show. I've got Campfire Evolution season 1 coming out after this season. I'm gonna do my best to film this hunt and my experiences. I don't know how well I'm gonna do with the actual killing of the like the kill shot. It's gonna be really hard to aim the camera and then lay down and shoot the animal. But that's what I'm working on, and I want to make it so that people see what I'm doing. People see my struggles. They see like how I'm improving. They see what I'm doing. I'm actually gonna be doing sign language the whole time. So and I'm gonna do a voiceover because I want the people who are deaf to be able to see what I'm doing. And I want like them to be connected. I mean, I want to bring everyone in here. There's a huge deaf community in California, especially in the Bay Area. And I want to bring everybody in here because everybody should be hunting. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I want to be that guy that gives them the information. I want to be that guy. Maybe they can't connect with Randy Newberg. Maybe Randy Newberg's too old or too whack, or he's not hip enough, or whatever these young kids are saying nowadays. um, and I want to be that connection because I think I can. I think my personality, the way I am, the way I see life, how I can connect with kids. I used to work with kids at high schools and elementary schools, children under the spectrum of autism. So my communication skills, as far as dealing with teenagers and kids and people who are struggling with ADHD and under the spectrum of autism, is, I would say, pretty on point. I can communicate with someone who's going through some traumatic shit, and I've do a really good job calming these kids down when I'm in the classroom setting. But I want to do it on a platform setting. I want to do it on a major scale and not really have any restrictions, because you can't really talk about hunting in a school in California. It's kind of
as
like,
you've found out, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of
yeah. I got fired or removed from a site because I was vividly disgusting hunting to a student. And I was talking to him how, it could be his outlet. And they didn't like that very much. And I was talking about how I was going on a hunt. And I got asked to not return to that school district anymore. So
that's terrible, man.
It led me to a better place.
It's disgusting that if your viewpoint doesn't align with their viewpoint, you know what I mean? If your viewpoint doesn't align with theirs, it's a problem.
Yeah.
But if their viewpoint doesn't align with you, they don't care.
Right.
That's just it's such a double standard on so many things in life these days.
The person who had the problem was, and I'm not picking on all vegans, but the person who had a problem was a vegan lady in the office. I don't remember her name. I would bust her out, but I'm not.
I honestly would say I probably don't think there's any vegans that listen to this show. So, and if there is, hey man, that's cool. I'm not knocking it, but I will say I don't understand it because I even listened to a great episode the other day of a podcast, and it was a person that was vegan that turned hunter. They first started working on farms and things like that, and then they eventually decided, well, the next obvious step here is these people are caring for their animals. I want to take my own meat. So then they just evolved into that hunter, and I think that's amazing. And this person actually, I believe she lived in California. She was a huge activist in PETA, worked for PETA, I believe, and just one day it all clicked and she's like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem that bad. If I can eat an egg that this lady rescued these chickens and she's trying to earn money for rescuing these chickens, why can't I eat meat if I can eat these eggs? If I can justify that, maybe I can justify the others. So that's when she started seeing the connection with all these small farms and how they raise their animals. And pretty amazing story, really. I mean, to listen to, and hopefully if everybody could go about it in a manner that somehow is relatable without being too graphic at first or something like that, to where you can introduce it to them, or just that little spark, that ember that ignites that fire. That's
Well, the thing about I I, I don't think that's possible, because hunting it's a bloody thing. No matter what I mean, fishing is probably the easiest introduction to hunting, because there's not a huge connection to fish. But even when you shoot a turkey, you gotta your turkey's not from the store. It's not already naked. You gotta pluck them. You gotta get those guts out. They're not ready like they're ready for you on Thanksgiving.
I
So
know.
I mean, you're getting bloody, and maybe turkey is the right way to go about starting your hunting, because it'll show you how you feel about it a little bit. I cried on every animal. I've cried my first turkey. I haven't cried since. But every big game animal, I usually shed a tear. I usually cry. I can tell you right now, when I get my redemption buck from Wyoming, I'm gonna cry my ass off. When I get if I get an elk this year, it's gonna be it's my favorite animal in the whole wide world. It's gonna be a very emotional time for me. To get my favorite animal is gonna be like, I don't know. It's gonna be like freaking Christmas, man. Like, dude, and to me, an elk is getting that famous rookie card in that deck when you're a kid, getting that like getting that toy you've always wanted for Christmas, like getting what that's what it is for me. And I haven't had that feeling. I haven't had this feeling that I'm feeling right now, this excitement, this giddy, since I was maybe like 8 or 9 years old for Christmas. I haven't had. Usually for my birthday, I buy my shit. I buy what I want, mine, whatever. I got it. But this is like an anticipation that I've never felt before, that I've never even realized can be in an adult male's life. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm I got so many emotions. Like I can't promise you my pants won't point when I kill that elk. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's
So,
gonna be a lot of emotions.
when you when you're going elk, are you going solo?
I'm going with my buddy. It's on his property, so I'll be with him. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna be solo, because he has an elk picked out for himself that he probably doesn't want me to shoot. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be with him, because he has a really nice big monster, like a 7x6, walking around on his property. He sent me pictures of it, and he's looking really nice. So yeah, I'm sure I'll be with him, hanging out in his blind, um, hunting over water. That's basically what he said. What we're gonna do is just chill, hunt over water, walk around in the afternoon, walk to another watering hole, hunt that water, and it's too early to hunt the rut, so we're just gonna try to hunt over water and see what happens. Hopefully, I can put a pointy stick in one.
So let's talk a little bit. We kind of talked earlier, and the whole thing about it's hard. A lot of people, you lose people. They say the biggest thing is not recruitment of new hunters, but actually retention. They end up finding out that it's hard. They're unsuccessful. They ended up not, taking an animal, harvesting an animal, and then they're like, oh man, it's hard to find places to hunt. I don't know what to do, where to go. So kind of, what did you do other than just watching Randy Newberg? I mean, at some point you had to figure out some stuff a little bit more and kind of go with it.
It was honestly nope. It was all Randy Newberg. um, I listened to him. He said on one of his episodes, he said to look for a spot that is hard to access, but also surrounding private, and pick zones that people don't want to hunt because of the private. So I picked a zone in Wyoming that has a ton of private, and I picked I cut it into quarters, and I picked one quarter, and I broke down each quarter. And I said, okay, I had 7 days to hunt. I said, okay, I'm gonna go to this quarter. I'm gonna check out these spots, and if I don't see anything, I'm gonna move. Luckily, it was my second quarter that I found, and I was like, holy smokes! I broke it down. This is where I want to hunt. So I got on Facebook and I started asking people about that area. Everyone said it's too much private. They hate hunting it. They don't like it. And I actually met a guy who was like, hey, buddy, that area you're talking about, I hunt it too. We should hunt together. And I'm like, totally, totally fine. Let's do it. So we hit that spot. All the spots that I had circled that Randy had suggested were hitters. I'm going exactly to that same spot, and I'm not doing anything different. I'm going to that same place because it's in the middle of the zone. There's so much public around it that's bigger. This has a lot of private around it. It's like these little blotches that you have to hunt. But when I went, I seen so many big bucks that I would mount on any tag. It was just like heaven. Granted, I didn't shoot one because fucked up story. So fucked up story. Okay, so it's redemption year, so I'm going back to Wyoming to redeem this. But when I first got to Wyoming, I don't know who took my rifles out of the car, but my wife or my buddy did, and he set them down behind his truck. Then he decided to move his truck. Well, he didn't move my rifles, so my rifles broke because of his truck. So I ended up having to use a 18-something Remington pump action 30-06. And I had no clue how to use it. Never shot it before. Never did anything with it before. And yeah, I had problems with that gun. I didn't know the gun. I didn't know what I was doing. I had 3 opportunities to shoot the biggest buck that I've ever seen, the same buck that I've ever seen 3 separate times. He was just a monster, and I didn't make it happen. I fucked up each time. I didn't cock it forward enough each time. One time I left the safety on and was jiggling with it, and it was making all the noise, and I had to I didn't know what was going on, so I emptied out the clip and I repacked it and I closed it back up, and it was just like fuck, dude. Rookie after rookie after rookie mistake.
You know, that's actually, even if it wasn't your gun, for a new hunter, even if you've shot guns before, just that anticipation, that excitement when you get on that animal, especially like a first animal or something like that. I've even talked to people on this podcast before, and they've said, I short cycled the bolt. I didn't even know that was a thing until I did it. They actually didn't cycle the bolt all the way, so it wasn't locked down. And so the firing pin didn't even hit he pulled the trigger and it still went off, but the firing pin didn't even hit the primer. Just things like that you don't think of, but in that heat of that moment, your adrenaline's going. And I mean, so that's one of those things that you don't think of until it happens. Now your story is a little bit different, but same thing. Even if you would have shot that gun before, it still could have happened, man. Especially a big buck, you know. Dude. And then like the other aspect of that is just, I mean, I've recently learned just even shooting your bow under duress is super important. Getting that heart rate elevated and shooting your bow. Dan Staten showed us. I was at a camp, and they had us do a bunch of split lunges and then drag another person down. And by the time you did that, your heart rate was up, and you're trying to settle that pin. And no matter what you do, you can't settle that pin. You're just floating. It never settles in, and you go and you just shoot anyway. And every single person's shot was off. I'm not talking like 2, 3 inches. It was like 6 inches, 10
Yeah.
inches. I mean, it was high left, whatever. It seemed like most of the people were left. They were right-handed shooters. So they were high left. I don't know if that would be different, but just the simple fact of pointing something out like that. Now imagine your first big bugle and bull elk just coming in screaming right in your face, and it's a 7-yard chip shot and you mess it up, I mean,
Yeah.
that would suck. So that's like one of my new focuses for when I shoot my bow is trying to get that heart rate up first.
So I tried to do that, and my mentor kind of slapped my wrist and said, "Don't do that." He said, "Don't do that because you're not supposed to practice poor. Practice, do your cardio, and then when you relax, shoot your bow. Because at the end of the day, when you're out there, yeah, it's a different kind of heart rate. It's more of like your blood spikes rather than your muscles are sore." I stopped doing the whole working out crazy and then shooting. I was doing that because I thought it would help the old Cameron Haynes run, lift, shoot style. But honestly, really just fucked up my shots, just like you said. But I wasn't trying to tire myself and shoot poorly. I want to shoot better and better. So once I stopped doing that and I started just shooting really tiny, working out, I would do my workouts. Actually, I would shoot in the morning, then I would do my workouts, and then I would shoot sporadically throughout the day, but like 1, 2, 3 arrows out the day. I improved a lot. I feel you about the heart rate because that's going to be a factor, but I don't think there's a way to mimic that kind of pressure. Like it's hard to mimic that kind of pressure, man. But yeah, so Cameron Haynes is a beast. He's a monster. I don't know what he does, but I'm not trying to be Cameron Haynes.
Well, that's like a David Goggins, man. Same thing.
I'm not trying to do that either. I'm not trying to. I have no desire to run that much or to, in some ways, I personally think that some of that stuff is extremely hard on your body. And I think that there's a way to be healthy, but not like that. That's a lot. That's a lot of health right there. That's a lot of health. And I ain't that healthy.
I'll never be that healthy, even if I tried.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, I might reach into that cookie jar like he does a couple times, try and pull myself through something, but I don't know if I could ever have the toughness that both of those dudes have. I'm never going to run the Grand Canyon in the same day. That's never happening.
I would run the Grand Canyon. I would do that, but it would
twice.
I mean, I would run it twice in a week, maybe, but
twice in the same morning and then go home and shoot your bow.
No, I mean, if I had the money and I had I could afford to spend my time like training like that, then yeah, I can probably do that. But I don't have the convenience yet to I don't know his training schedule, but any job that I ever had is not going to let me run 10 miles on my lunch break. Unfortunately, it's not. They're not. Yeah. I would love to do that. I used to fight. I used to compete in the cage. I used to fight MMA. So training like that it's not outside of what I would be doing if I was fighting. But it's really hard to have that kind of lifestyle and be a parent and have a job. For me, it's really difficult. Something's gonna give. And if you don't have a cool, I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I have all my jobs are 12-hour shifts, 15-hour shift kind of jobs. So with that said, I don't have a lot of time off. When I have time off, you have a wife, you got to figure out some time with her. You have a baby, you got to prioritize time with the baby, and then everything else falls in afterwards. So it's probably, I don't know if Cameron Haynes has kids, but if he does, they're probably older, and
they
probably have to worry about changing diapers and making sure the baby goes to sleep on time. But yeah, maybe when I'm his age and my daughter grows up, I can see myself doing something like that, just kind of pushing myself to the edge, because I do enjoy trying to be the best at something, and that's kind of why I shoot my bow constantly, is because I don't when I see that bull, when I see that buck, when I see that turkey, that grouse, whatever is in my crosshairs, I want to always be able to put the arrow where the pin is and make a clean shot each and every time. And as as I was just saying, I used to do the flip the tires, kettlebells, Tabata workouts, burpees, do some sprints, and then go shoot the bow, and then go do it all over again. But I feel like I've improved as a bowman by not combining those two. And like right now, like I said, I feel as like I feel so zen about my bow. I feel so peaceful about my bow. I feel so like I don't worry about it. I just pull it back and the pin just goes where I put it. I can set back at 100 yards and put it right in the middle just because I have that much confidence in my bow. I'm that relaxed with it. And I'm talking all this shit and I could fuck up opening morning and completely shoot right over. But I feel good. I'm looking at her right now. I keep looking up like, oh, there she is. I love you so much.
So what's the bow behind you then?
My first bow. This is my first bow. Hold on. This is my first bow. It's a PSE. It had 50 pounds on it. And this is the first bow I picked up because of Randy Newberg. Actually, this is it. This is the bow that I got because of Randy. And since I got it, I gave it to my old lady. And she put the pink stuff on it. And I shoot it every once in a while because you can change the setting and the poundage really easy. And I shoot it and it's fun. And I ended up getting this bow. This is my Bear Marshall. This is still a really good bow. I still really like shooting this bow. It's really fun. I do a lot of blind bell shooting with this bow just because it's easier to practice my shot. It's close your eyes, get real close to the target, pull through. It's just like my practice bow kind of thing.
I did a lot of that last year. I fought some serious target panic and I changed everything up. I changed it up from my, and the whole problem was I just had a crappy release and I didn't even realize it when I bought it and first started shooting it. But once I started getting anxious on my shots, that's when it really amplified the fact that it was just a crappy release and had just a super long travel in the trigger. So I changed it up from a trigger release to a thumb release. And
welcome to the dark side, my friend.
And everybody's like, that's stupid. Why would you do that? Just get a different. And I'm like, no, man, I need to completely cleanse myself and start over. And so they're like, yeah, but you're just going to do the same thing with that. And that's a horrible idea. You need to address the problem. And I'm like, listen, everybody deals with their problem differently. This is how I'm going to do it. And so I went and bought a new target because I only had 3D targets. I went and bought a new bag target. I hung it in the basement and I stood there at like 2 yards and just kept closing my eyes, drawing back, just focusing on that until I got that down pat. Tighten my shoulders a little bit and pop. There it goes, and it just goes off on its own, man. And kept doing that. And then I'm like, okay, let's do 10 yards in the basement. Do 10 yards, but still focus the same thing. I'd even close my eyes on the drawback and everything, and then open them and let that pin settle. And I did that. And I mean, I'd put the kids to bed, and I'd spend probably an hour or 2 hours in the basement every night just doing that. And I only had like 3 weeks before my deer season started. And I'm like, I am not going to let this screw me up.
Nice.
We were talking about so much stuff. Man.
I think we were talking about success rates and the retention of hunters and hunters getting frustrated because they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to plan things. This year, I have a plan A, a plan A1, all the way down to plan D. I have a plan D, A, B, C. I have a plan D, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and it just keeps going on from there. And each plan has 4 different plans that I'm gonna do, and I don't see myself getting past plan A. Honestly, plan A is get to this one spot, set up camp, hike in until you can't. Well, I have my e-bike, so I'm e-bike in, Then I'm hiking until because it's a spot that you can't use your e-bike, and I'm a glass, and I'm gonna see something, or I'm not. Then I'm gonna do that for 3 days, and then move to another spot. Do that for a couple days, and then move to another spot, and then kind of bounce back between spots in that one plan A. And then if plan A doesn't work out, I'll pack up my camp and go to plan B. And then plan B, I have 4 different spots in plan B that I'm gonna hit up and see what happens. And I'm gonna just eliminate my process of elimination from there. And at the end, I'll probably go back to plan A and check that out just to be sure that there's nothing there. But that's kind of what, as a hunter who wants to be successful, and if you only have 5 days to do it, you have to have multiple plans because your plan might not they might not be where they're at. They might just be hanging out on the other side of the mountain for 5 days and you just missed them. So you got to be able to plan around your plans. So one thing that I'm doing is I'm setting up a base camp closer to my vehicle, and then I'm gonna set up spike camps when I go up. So I have my base camp. I'll have that set up where close to my vehicle, and I'll start hunting in, and I'll probably start at my plan A4. This is my fourth plan of my plan A, and because you have to get through all those other plans to see your plan 4, so I'm gonna go through all those other plans 1, 2, and 3 to get to 4, hunt that area, and kind of hunt on my way back. If I see something that goes to bed, I'm gonna set up a spike camp, wait the next morning, and then try to hunt them in the morning. That's my basic plan, is to just hunt in from 4 because I know what's at 1. I mean, I know it's at 1A. I know it's at 1B. I don't know what's at 1C and what's at 1D. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to be glassing these whole areas until I get to my 4, hunting that area, coming in well, let me explain my season. So when I get to Wyoming, I have a cow elk tag. I'm really there for deer, for bucks. So when I'm saying I'm gonna be passing my plan A, my plan B, my plan C, that's more of my bucks. I was told that the elk hang out over by my plan D. So I'm gonna hunt my plan D, but really I'm scouting for deer while I'm hunting elk. I don't really care if I shoot a cow elk in Wyoming. I'm praying to God that I already have a bull elk in my freezer. So it's more for me to go scout for my buck tag and just be out there with the tag. And if I see a cow, great. But the reason I am there is for my buck tag. I just don't want to be out there, not have a cow tag, and then see a cow and then be like, fuck, I should have got a cow tag. So that's why I got a cow tag. But the season doesn't start until October 1st. I'll be getting there around September 25th. It gives me about 5 days or 6 days to hunt cow elk or really scout for deer. So I'm gonna be doing that, checking out all my plan A, B's, and C's, and 4s and 5s and 6s and whatever. And yeah, and that's like the whole time I'm setting out all this time to hunt cows and then hunt bucks. But the whole time I'm hunting cows, I'm really hunting my bucks. I'm really looking for what they're doing, who's what other hunters are watching these bucks. I'm looking for pressure. I'm looking for their habits. Are they staging right now, or are they still in bachelor groups? How's the weather? How's the weather going to be in October 1st versus September 20th, where it can just change in Wyoming overnight? Like, I'm looking at all these different aspects because to be successful, you kind of have to, and maybe hunting isn't for everybody. Well, I say that because I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with failing. I don't want to fail. I don't want to lose. So when I eat a tag, I get more hungry the next year to go back and fill that tag. Not everybody's like that. That's not for everybody. But I feel like people who do put themselves in these situations where they do have to struggle and they don't get what they wanted out of that struggle, I feel like it makes them a better person. Even if they never come back and buy a tag ever again, I feel like that struggle, that process that you went through of working hard, sweating, being cold, freezing, being tired, being sore, camping and being out in nature, having that process and then coming home empty-handed, I think it does things to your brain that's like it's refreshing. I think that struggle is kind of like I think more people need that struggle, especially nowadays. People are so detached from the struggle. I feel like that kind of struggle is what's needed. And for me, it just made me more crazy about going hunting. It just made me want to I just in my body, I'm like, nope, I'm never gonna lose again. I'm gonna go out there. I'm never gonna have an excuse to be this or to be that. I'm not gonna have like I again, even when I went out the last year I went hunting in Wyoming, I wasn't prepared. I didn't have enough water. I didn't have enough clothes. I didn't have the right kind of clothes. I over layered when I went hunting. So by the time I got to the top of the mountain, I was sweating and it was freezing cold outside. So now I'm freezing cold and I can't hunt as long. I didn't have like the right food. I was eating Pop Tarts and top ramen. Like it was just horrible. And I'm never gonna do that again. That last year
So
taught me so much.
that's awesome that you said that. So let's talk about what you learned from that, from your food and how you're going about it different this year.
Right. So my food, I'm going all out. I got a camp chef that I'm bringing a 3 burner with a skillet, and I got freeze dried food, and I'm bringing a shit ton of water. So much water that I'll be able like I'll be bringing home crates of water hopefully because you never want to not have enough water because you need water for food, you need water for dishes, you need water to wash your clothes, you need water for literally everything. This year, luckily, I'm working with Peak Refuel, and they're going to be helping me out with a lot of my meals. Um, and I'm going to be doing a lot of veggie and steaks over the fire and over the grill. And yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be doing. I'm not eating like most hunters would be eating. I'm going to be eating like I need to fuel my body for tomorrow's hunt. I'm going to be eating um, these bars. I talked to Brian Call and Ryan Lampers, and I got
Mhm.
these recipes for these bars that I'm gonna be making, protein packed, full of energy. Uh,
Yep.
I got the Peak 2 refuels have a lot of protein in them. I'm gonna be obviously making some trips into the city and buying some steaks, some eggs. I'm camping out in Wyoming. I'll be camping out from um, late September till October 10th. So I'll be there for about 2.5 weeks. So I'm gonna want to be comfortable. I'm hunting hard in these places. So my style is when I'm at base camp, have a big meal, eat healthy, probably have like a small breakfast, snack, lunch, big dinner, and call that good. The days that I set up spike camps are going to be my peak refuel days, where I'm going to just have 2 or 3, probably 2 peak refuels in my in my bag, and pack a bunch of water and call it good. And if I set up a spike camp, I'm good. I'll have my burner, boil some water, set it up my peak 2, my peak refuel, mix it up, let it sit for 10 minutes, and it's freaking amazing. Um,
So
yeah. So
I actually started making my own dehydrated meals. So pretty cool.
nice.
Yeah. But so you don't filter any water or anything when you're out there?
There's
You
no
don't.
water. There's no water around. If it snows, then you can do the whole snow thing, but there's not a lot of there's the water that you can't access it because it's on private. So the stream of
Oh,
there is, it's on private. So that's why I hunt right off that private because they feed over there, but then they bed on the public. So there's this transition period where they're kind of staging around, they're playing around. They might be like the one time I had a shot, they were about 100 yards from private on the public, and they had just got done watering and they were playing and frolicking and some bucks were sparring and there was just this one buck in the middle that just knew he was the cock of the walk. And that was the first time I saw him. And yeah, so I was pretty convinced that this area was a good area because that's what I seen every single time. Even when I was in a different spot, I would see deer coming from private to public. And unfortunately there's no water there. There's not, I mean, yeah, there's no water.
That makes it tough.
I can do the snow thing. I was thinking about, maybe I can do the snow and melt snow down, but then when you actually do that, you don't get a lot of water out of this.
That, and then you gotta, yeah. What is it like? A half inch of water makes, or what is it? A half inch of water makes like a foot of snow, or an inch of water makes a foot of snow, or something like that. So you'd be melting a lot of crazy amounts. So then you got to pack in a ton of fuel to melt all that too.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I have where I'm camping is going to be pretty easy for me to access anything I need. So I can drive in my truck to this area and unload I have a generator that I'm gonna be using to charge on my cameras. 'Cause I need to have my cameras charged. That's one thing that I'm freaking out is like, how am I gonna get all these hunts filmed? How am I gonna have battery charges? I don't want to sit there and wear out my car and keep using my car to charge all my shit, or my truck to charge all my shit. So I got a generator. I got a camp chef with a gas burner, and I'm gonna be unloading on my water, and that's kind of my plan, and it's to just pack everything I need in, be as comfortable as possible, be able to stay there as long as possible, because I think that's what drives people away is they don't plan for like the worst. I have plans for like the coldest weather, and I have plans for the hottest weather. I have plans for if it rains, what am I gonna do? If it's hot as hell, what am I gonna do? Like, I got contingency plans under contingency plans on top of contingency plans, because that's the psychopath I've become after failing in hunting. And
that's perfect, man. That's what you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting kind of late. I'm gonna say we've gone down some rabbit holes, man. It was good talking to you, though, dude. Why don't you tell people where they can find you before we leave?
Sweet, man. So I'm Arlando Chiles, also known as Buck the Black Hunter. You can find me at camp_fire_evolution on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Basically, Twitter, anything, all social media. Not so much on Facebook because I don't even check my Facebook anymore. But hit me up on Instagram, and I'll respond. I'll respond to you if you hit me up. But yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you, man. I had a lot of fun. I got to go in and finish having some fun times with my wife. We're watching Yellowstone. We've been hanging out all day watching Yellowstone, and
we've been trying to. But
yeah,
it gets tough. We put the kids to bed, and unless I'm doing a podcast, we pretty much crash. But
yeah,
you know how that goes.
I know how that goes, man.
Times it by 3 or by 2. So
oh, they say you don't actually have kids until you have more than one. That's what they keep telling me.
I'll tell you what, we had one and we're like, oh, this is easy. Let's have 2. Then you had 2 and it's like, this isn't terrible. 3 is not terrible, but it is a whole different ball game. And I'm almost to the point where I'm like, what would 4 do? Would that be like, would 4 be like the limit to where you're like, no way, man, this is even crazier? Or would it be like, well, you already got 3. This is crazy. What's one more?
Well, man, just keep having fun trying, man. That's what it's about.
Oh, I don't know, man.
That's all you gotta do.
No, I think we're done.
Wherever it's gonna go. So if you're bound to have 4 kids, you're gonna have 4 kids, man.
Yeah. But anyway, it's been awesome talking to you. I appreciate you coming on, sharing everything, sharing your story, man. Thank you so much.
Peace.
And once again, thank you so much for listening to the Publicly Challenged podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please subscribe on whatever platform it is you're listening to. Also, if you could leave a review, that would help us out. And you can check us out on Instagram or at publiclychallenged.com. And once again, thank you so much for listening to the show.